Here are some of the Republicans that you were talking about responding. Take a look.
Yeah, I think the New York legal system's off the rails when it comes to Donald Trump.
What's happening in some of these courtrooms in Manhattan, I don't even know. I'm not going to get into it.
It's a jury of his peers finding him.
Come on, man. Serious? Don't say that stuff to me. That might work for somebody else. That definitely don't work for me. Jury of my peers? Yeah, whatever. What else you got?
I mean, that's pretty much it. This is a sexual abuse conviction, basically.
It's an allegation from, what, 25 years ago?
Okay, so this is the problem with these Republicans. This is the sickness that you're talking about that Trump has coursed through the veins of American society and our politics, especially our politics. And I just want to take a moment to put up on a platform and say thank you to E. Jean Carroll for having the guts so many years later with so much against her to take this case on and to push it and to take that opportunity when the window opened in the law for her to file this civil lawsuit, because it wasn't ultimately about whether or not she was lying. It's often very hard with these cases when something happens behind closed doors with no witnesses so many years later. You really wonder, gosh, how could this get anywhere? But you know what? It took her bringing it to trial and bringing the other women who have had a bad situation with Donald Trump. And they set it up. And if these Republicans would just watch the deposition, they would see in front of their own eyes the sickness that Donald Trump has put on this country.
But Mika,
because you're
they
blind.
Know that.
No, hold on.
No, the Republicans
You know what? I'm
that.
not going to assume that them
They
running all
lie
over
on
Capitol Hill
on TV.
I'm not going to assume they watch the deposition. I'm asking. It's 42 minutes or it might be longer, but watch it. Because you will see it's not about whether or not these women lied. He says he did it. And you're okay with that. You're going after the jury, a jury of his peers, unanimous verdict, and you don't even look at the deposition where Donald Trump says he did it. This is what he does. You have to understand, this is what he does. He normalizes things that are not normal. He normalizes things that are not okay. He normalizes things that are illegal. It is not okay. And no, it hasn't happened for millions of years. Celebrities don't go up to women and grab their genitals, okay? They don't just walk up and do it. And if they do, they should be charged and they should go to jail, or they should be charged in a civil lawsuit and pay millions, which is happening here. And in the deposition, not only is he atrocious and rude to the attorneys, but he says straight out that he did it, but he's normalizing it for you. And you can't see it because you're clinging ever so tightly to a losing proposition, which is what's so stupid. It's stupid politically. It's malpractice. This doesn't work. You have seen many times over, people don't like insurrections. They love the Constitution, and they don't like people who sexually assault women.
No. And again, if they saw the deposition, they would see that, yes, during the Access Hollywood tape, Donald Trump bragged about sexually assaulting women.
Says it happens.
And in this deposition, he said it happens and says maybe that's bad or maybe that's not bad. And so he again takes the Access Hollywood tape, brings it up to 2023, saying, you know, maybe that's not a bad thing that Donald Trump can sexually abuse women. And you have Republicans saying, what, the jury of my peers, give me a break. Again, here's the crazy thing, Jen Palmieri. They didn't talk that way before Donald Trump. They didn't talk about terminating the Constitution before Donald Trump. They didn't talk about overthrowing governments before Donald Trump. They didn't talk about throwing out elections before Donald Trump. I say all this to say, these people, you talk about throwing pearls at swine, to quote Jesus, these people are willing to throw out Madisonian democracy for a five-time loser who has already said the Constitution should be terminated and that election results should be thrown out, and that, yes, he still has the right, because he's a star, in his words, to commit sexual abuse against women.
It's the continued massive integrity downgrade of the Republican Party. Started in 2016, continues 7 years later. I mean, there are some good things that came out of yesterday, though, Joe, that even though Republicans are ignoring them, we shouldn't bypass. I mean, it was an important, very delayed, but very important repudiation of Donald Trump's vile actions against women, the way he speaks about women. I know, just the Access Hollywood tape, not just, there was a dozen women that accused him of abuse, but then there's his words on tape, and millions of American women were just devastated on Election Day in 2016 when too many Americans had heard that and said, that's okay. It's a pervasive sense to women in America that didn't support him. You're not worth the same as men. And to finally have in a court, to have our peers in the form of a jury repudiate that is a really important validation, just as it matters and has an impact beyond politics when those Republicans continue to dismiss the charges, say it doesn't matter, say it's not important. And I think that it will have a political impact as well, though. I think, it didn't end with Trump and his abuse of women. There's a war on women with the reverse of Roe. That continues as well. And women will, they will hear these words from Republicans, see that kind of conviction that came out of New York. And, it has an impact on us. I think it makes you just that more fired up. It makes you just that more skeptical of the Republicans that continue to prop him up. So I think it, will have an impact on Trump's chances of winning the Republican nomination? Probably not. Will it hurt these Republicans that continue to prop him up? I think that it will.